Hey friends, I thought I'd show you how you make these fun shaker bookmarks out of course, a paper towel roll. Although you can also use a toilet paper roll. I just use a paper towel roll because then I can get two out of the same roll. So first I take my paper towel roll and I cut it in half, right across the middle. And I also cut it down the side. And you can cut it down the side to whatever width you want to give your bookmark or what have you. And mine measure approximately 5¼ inches by 4¼ That's the approximate measurement of the way I cut it down. And then you want to get a piece of scrap paper and you want to cut it so that you have, maybe about 1/2 inch or so all the way around, because we're going to lay this on the back of it and we're going to tuck all of those ends in. We're also going to glue this part of the piece of scrap paper to the paper towel roll. And if you want to do any stamping or any decorating of the front of your scrap paper, or music sheet or book page or whatever, now would be the time to do that. Meaning that if you just want to do some watercolor or use some stamps or what have you, now would be the time to do that. Next, I put glue all on the very front of the paper towel roll. I set it down on my piece of scrap paper face down, and then I work that across, try to get that to adhere as best as possible. Then I go around and start gluing down all 4 sides, and you may need to cut into these a little bit just to get them to fold down nicely. Make sure that you bend it a little too as you're tucking in those sides. You don't want to make it so taut that you start to stress the seam of the bookmark. Okay, now that we have all of our sides tucked in nicely, we're just going to give it a little fold. Make sure we haven't stressed the seam. I see that the glue's a little wet under here, but that's okay. We can still proceed. At this point, I like to go around all of my edges with a little distress ink. Just to give it a little more color, deepen the edges of it. And all around, front and back. And then we'll be right back. I'm just going in with a little bit of green stays on because I see that there's some green in this pattern. And I just thought I'd give it a little touch of green around the edges. Next, I'm going to take some netting, and I just bought this whole big roll of netting. Probably lasts me forever. And I placed that down on the piece, again allowing about 1/2 inch all the way around, but a much bigger area at the top because we're going to gather that in the end. I use double-sided tape for the next part because I haven't found any glue that's going to work to hold this netting down, and this double-sided tape works really, really well. So I put it just down the 3 sides. Keep the top where you have that extra length of netting. Keep that open for right now. Just want to put it down the 3 sides and then bring in the edges of the netting. As you can see, the double-sided tape really holds well, the netting well. And again, you don't want to put it, stretch it out and put it so taut that you can't bend this in. So you want to just kind of leave a tiny bit of slack, not a whole lot, but you will be able to tell when you fold it that you can fold it nicely. I have my two sides down, and now I'm going to fold up my bottom, and I did tuck in those corners so that I can get that down very nicely. And I can bend it just fine. And as you can tell, it doesn't matter where it opens because we're going to seal it off and close the whole thing anyway. Next, I put two-sided tape all on the inside. You could try to glue it, especially it would glue well where there isn't any netting, but I like to use the two-sided tape because I think it holds up really well, and it's easy to work with. I avoid putting tape directly on the middle crease, and now I'm just going to fold the whole thing up. Close it up tightly, but everything is very, very well protected in there because of the tulle underneath or over top of the bookmark. And as you can hear, since it's a doubled paper towel roll, it's really sturdy. Next, I'll take some sprinklings of some, confetti here, some of those sparklies. I have some here, I don't even know what it's called, but I have a whole container of them. Wish I'd seen chunky glitter. That's what it is, chunky glitter. And also, as a little tip, if you have extra diamond dots, which I do have plenty, I save them and I'll mix them in with it because it really does have a very nice effect, and it makes the little shaker noise. Then I just pick up that tulle from the end where I left all the excess, and I start to drop my beads down in there without losing some of them on the outside. Pick that up a little bit. Just shake them off. Again, manipulate the top of the tulle a little bit just to get them down in there. And it doesn't matter if they rattle around, if they go to the back, it's all fun. And there you go. And then I take a little piece of string, and you can pretty much do whatever you like here. And I pull this together at the top, nice and tight, so that nothing can escape. I also like to hot glue a little something to the top of it after I've tied it off, because the glue will sort of act as a stopper for anything that may try to escape, which they're staying in there really well. But anyway, I think that they're fun. Again, paper towel roll, toilet paper roll, and create a nice little sturdy bookmark and embellish it any way you like. Thank you so much for viewing.